actually, Big Blue is hooked up to trailer R74. What is going on is I'm going to be adjusting these self-inflation Hendrickson self-inflation systems. You guys have asked how these systems work and everything in the past. I'm going to explain it real quick. But you guys have known from the videos I've done and everything, these all have a problem. And the boss has been going through a lot of problems with this. He's been going through tires like unbelievable. And so the boss has, and we've taken it into places and had him work on it and everything else. It doesn't seem to get fixed right. So the boss actually bought me the tool to set up these self-inflation systems. There's a lot of words here that I'm going to mess up. It's kind of like a tongue twister type of thing. He bought me the tool, and I'm actually going to go through trailer by trailer, and I'm going to be setting these all up with the correct inflation for the tires and also for the deflation. You got to set up both. The part here is this right here, and it's a Hendrickson genuine parts. It says VS-32331. It's a Pro Controller test gauge, and basically it's just a little gauge, has a little relief button here, it has a valve here, and an air fitting that you can put on there, and then this clamps inside there. Now, here's what happens is we have these self-inflation systems, and it's really not entirely the driver's fault. Because you walk by the tires, you kick the tire's good and firm. You got the self-inflation system, the light's not on, so you think everything is good. But what you don't really realize, and I've started going through, because we're going through so many tires, is the inflation is not correct. And so the only way to check it, really, that we have right now, is to pull this hose off. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to grab a pliers, and you got to sit here and take off the valve stem nut. And then you got to pull this hose off. And then you can take your tire gauge, put it on the tire, and you check it out, and it is about 88 psi. Now the boss he wants to get all good tires on the trailer, so I guess I'm going to be bringing it back trailer by trailer, and I'm going to be putting new tires on up at my tire guy, that Pat's Tire up in Chilton. He's going to be putting all really good tires on. We got 4 really good tires on here. And then he wants me to set them up with this inflation system, and then we're going to keep an eye on them. So you check this out, and it should be at 100 psi, but instead it's at 87 or whatever I just said it was. And so it's too low, and it looks good. I mean, so it's not entirely the driver's fault. I mean, you're not going to have drivers sitting here taking all these hoses off and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this hose back on. Now Hendrickson does sell a gauge, and the drivers are not going to be doing this. You can't expect the drivers to be doing this. Maybe he could. I don't know if he's going to buy a gauge for everybody. But I did, I was looking at all the different tools they sell to maintain these things and everything. And I guess these systems are supposed to be checked every year. But basically all it is a gauge with this hose on. And then this here with different threads. This has female threads with male threads, and it actually screws in right here, and then it'll give you the PSI that the system is running at. But we don't have that right now. So right now, I mean, that's the way that you check it. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. So basically what happens, how the system works, is there's 2 hoses out here. There's like a needle, almost like how you fill a football or a basketball, that is hooked to a hose that is in the center of the axle. These axles on this trailer are hollow. And it comes out to a little fitting that splits it off to each one of these airlines. And that hose goes up to a controller that's underneath the trailer. And that controller is supposed to be set up for 100 psi. So it will make sure that the tires have 100 psi. If you run over a nail or something, it continues to fill the tire so the tire doesn't go flat and you can get to someplace. And then there's supposed to be a light on the front of the trailer. The light's supposed to go off saying, hey, there's a lot of air going through, you got a problem. You can go back and hear, oh, this tire's getting a lot of air, and oh, there's a nail, so you can get it fixed. But it keeps it inflated so you can get to the garage and get it fixed. So what's happening is the valves are set up wrong. And so we're going to be just setting this all up correctly here. All right. So this is the control box right here. And so we open this up, and we got our valves up inside here. So basically, these wires here are for what controls, it turns the light on up in the front. And when there's a lot of air that goes through this system, then it turns that light on, and the driver can see, hey, I got an issue, or whatever. And so then he can come back here and investigate and figure out what's going on. So this little cap right here just comes off. It's got like a little rubber deal that moves out of that. That screws off. We can set those two caps to the side. Now the end of this tester, it just sits up inside here. Okay, so now there is an Allen wrench that is up inside this right here. And there's a little Allen set screw that's inside the end of there, the cap that I pulled off. And there's also a little Allen set screw. They are a 1/8 inch Allen wrench. So a 1/8 inch Allen wrench will fit inside there. So now, first of all, I'm going to check the deflation, just kind of see where it's going to be going and everything. And to do that, you need an air supply, and I have a little air compressor. It's probably going to turn on, so it's going to get noisy. But you got to hook it onto the bottom of the tool, and it needs to be higher than what the deflation is going to be set at. So now, the deflation, if you set up the cold pressure tire that you want to maintain the tires at 100 psi, then your deflation should be set at 110. It should be 10 pounds, 10 psi higher than the cold. And what that is that it keeps the tire at 100, but then say like you go on Texas and it's 105 degrees out or something, and the asphalt is hot and the tires get warm, they expand, you get higher pressure in there. The system is supposed to relieve the pressure to keep them 100 to 110 so that the tires wear better. So we're going to check that first, and you have to have an air compressor hooked up that is higher than what the deflation is set at. So I have it's a small little portable air compressor set up, and it's set at 135 it'll go to. And I believe that it's high enough, right?
I can't see it.
I believe it's on. No, it's at 100. Why is that not turning on? I couldn't do this with the little air compressor there, Ryan. I couldn't hear the air escaping. So I actually have it hooked up to my big air compressor down in my shop, and I had to make a little adapter because it's a different fitting. So we're going to hook this up. Okay. So we're going to open this valve. No fart jokes. Alright, the truck was too low. The PSI in the truck was actually too low, so I had to build up some air. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, then now that's too low. That is 92. Okay, there we go. That's at 101. 100. Now, let's check this deflation. Supposed to have done this in the beginning, but it doesn't. I can't seem to get it higher than 100.
Ouch.
Okay, there we go. Now it's working. I don't know what was set up wrong, maybe because it was set the same or something. But now the deflation. So you open it up. Then you close it, and that shows where the deflation is. And the deflation on it is at 118. So they recommend 10 over. They say you can go to 15 over. So we're going to decrease the deflation just a little bit. Turn that much. You open the valve. Right there, 110, right on the money. Check it again. The leaking noise is my little fitting here that I made up. Open the valve, close it, right at 110. Now I'm going to just double check the low, the cold setting. Open that back up. Right at 100. There we go.
Good job.
Just in case for all you viewers out there that says the inspector dumped me and everything else because now I'm just a mechanic, she's actually the one videoing. You heard her. Say hello.
What?
Say
hello.
There you go. So there we go. So now we got it set up. The tires will be inflated to 100 psi. If you get a nail in them or something, or it'll keep them at 100 psi. If they get warm, driving on warm highways or whatever, and it builds up pressure, it gets up to 110. Then you heard that little discharge noise. It discharges the air out of the tires to bring them back down to the range of 100 to 110. So there you go. That's how you set these up. And then what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be buttoning these back up. And I talked to the boss about putting a little padlock on here. He said that he doesn't like that idea because they rust. He said he tried it with spare tires, just didn't work. They ought to be cut. I said, well, you know, you can get those real cheap ones. You can get a bunch of multiple ones that are the same exact key. And then this thing is just not designed with a lot of room in here. But then he came up with the idea, put a seal on there, like how we seal at the back of the trailer. It's not really about somebody getting in here and messing with us and everything. And see, they set these at 95. Why are they setting them at 95? There's no reason. It should be at 100. I got people I know that drive trucks that actually run their tires at 150 psi. They say what happens is the tires actually last longer and they get better fuel mileage because the tires are harder. So the tires don't squat so much, so there's not as much tread touching the road. Seems to work. But we're going to right over top of this 100. But I'm going to put a seal on here. It's not really to keep people out of here. It's just that if somebody does go in there, then we know they went in because the seal will be gone. That's the only reason why we're doing that. So there you go. That's how you set up and that's how you adjust it. I'm going to be going from trailer to trailer, putting all good tires on all the trailers, and then I'm going to be personally going through all these trucks, setting these up so it's correct PSI, and then I'm going to try to check back with the trailers like once a month or so and check the PSI levels in the tires to make sure that these systems are keeping up. And that way we stop going through all these dang tires. That's a lot of money. You figure each one of those tires is $500. So that's $2,000 right there. And $4,000 back there. So there we go. So I'm going to let you guys go. I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great day, great night as they're watching this here video. If you're not, well, you certainly sit out here in the dark and get bit up by mosquitoes and have the inspector video you. And look at this. Look at this. I yell about this all the time. Mechanics, put this back in. Don't know why they can't do that. We can always try it over again tomorrow. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.